Hello, everyone. It's Maggie, and I'm back with the online open lecture number 14 already. And today we're going to cover a really important and fundamental topic, which refers to pretty much all types of, fields and anything we do as a humanity generally. And of course, MarTech being like symbiosis of two evolving and important parts of our everyday life, marketing and technology. It cannot really exist without these type of topic, right? And this is why it's really important for us to consider this, because even if you're now watching this video on YouTube, certainly you already leave your digital footprint, and this data is used by any kind of AI or any kind of other technology for something. And for what? I mean, are you aware? I'm not really sure that everyone actually knows the full extent to which their data is used. But nevertheless, we need to at least understand the basics and or the general use of data, right? Especially for marketing purposes. And that's why I'm here today with this presentation to give the general overview of this, link between marketing, technology, and ethics. So let's move on. And just a quick overview of why am I here with you. I'm Maggie, and I've been in teaching, consulting, and in corporate life for more than 12 years. And I'm really happy to share my knowledge and experience and all that stuff, what's currently important, in the form of lecture with you, with general audience. And usually these online lectures are dedicated to students, to young professionals, or to any type of professionals, and also to the lifelong learners. Or if you're just interested in this topic, you're more than welcome to just enjoy it. And I think that with this experience, it's really nice to have, I think, the access to what I have to share with you. So I really hope it's going to be useful for you. If you have any questions, clarifications, you can always visit my website. But without further ado, let's get to the topic at hand. Ethics. I mean, I'm not sure which number of lectures this one is for you, but you might be aware already that I love definitions, because this is about the clarity about what you can know about the topic. And I begin, this is not the exception, this presentation is not, and ethics. This term, this word, has been with us as a humanity for a very long time. So it is about how we behave, right? And the Cambridge Dictionary certainly says the same. Ethics is a system of accepted rules about behavior based on what is considered right and wrong. So if we take a look at this definition, we can see that it is a system, right? Something that influences, so some part that influences another. So say hi to my little companion over here. So she decided to say hi. Anyway, don't get distracted. Let's get back. So we have a system. System is usually when we have several variables that influence each other, right? And with that, we have certain rules. We have certain rules about behavior. So what to actually follow to get the particular behavioral patterns, let's call it that way, or reaction to some sort of external trigger, let's call it that way. And what is considered right and wrong. I mean, I think that humanity has been struggling with the definition of what's right and wrong for a very long time, I think even now. And this is, sounds really broad, but at the same time, it really summarizes up everything we need to know about ethics in general. But we're not here to get into the philosophical debate, and let's get to the actual MarTech related stuff. So we have to understand, or we need to understand, that we have different approaches. And these different approaches actually stem from my master dissertation, which I wrote because I was really passionate about the economic law. And I thought about and worked on the topic dedicated to the digital economy, transformation and development and comparison. And what I came across, and it was, I guess, 5 years ago already. Gosh, that's a long time, if you ask me. But anyway, it was really fun. And it really helped to grasp the overall idea of the regulations and what we actually have right now. And when we talk about MarTech and ethics, we cannot really just, rely on broad definitions of whatever is right and wrong, right? And with that, we have ethics, right, as a concept, which comes from sociology, psychology, or different other, human-related science. And we have legal governance, which is more focused on the internal regulations within the organization, internal code of conduct within the with the employment with employees, with shareholders, stakeholders, all this stuff, how it's covered, third parties, indeed, how they're selected, how their work is there, and we had the state law. I mean, the business cannot exist without country level regulations and union level regulations. If we talk about the country within some particular political alliance, whatever. Anyway, so at least these three dimensions really cover how ethical anyone can be, especially if we talk about business. Then we have the multidimensionality of the term itself, MarTech, marketing technology, right? So we have rules for marketing. It's been evolving for a very long time already. Even beginning with Ford, with the just-in-time concept, and with the emergence of just sales to the customer-centric marketing. This customer centricity also got technology and use of making this centricity much more, centric. And with that, technology became also the part of different types of ethics, because initially, right, you have electricity, you have I don't know, lamps all over your head, you have some sort of radio, all this stuff. However, you didn't necessarily used your data on what you bought yesterday, or what's your favorite kind of milk, which you share this information with Amazon, for example, if you buy it there. So technology becomes much closer to us. It's good, but to which extent? That's actually the question of ethics. And it's certainly not the question for this particular lecture, because I'm here just to settle like the basic fundamental rules, or I don't know, landscape for all that. But nevertheless, this is something to consider. If you have any thoughts and comments, please let me know. Anyway, let's move on. And we have law, right? Law actually has quite a difficult time catching up with technological development and the technological penetration into, what technology can do with our data, with what we do, what we're going to do next, how it influences our behavior and all that. It's difficult, but nevertheless, law tends to try to keep up with it and determine the rules, which could be, a bit more predictive toward the further development of technology, but at the same time, not really too restricting, in order to, not just push down all the possible innovation, which can be in different spheres, right? So technology equals to innovation, basically. So in some sort of extent. And that's why it's really important to also take care of that part. So when we talk about law, we have union law. For example, if, as I mentioned earlier, the country where business operates, or marketer works, or the customer resides in, refers to the union law. For example, the European Union has its own regulations by the European Commission. For example, the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, it came out exactly at the time when I was writing my master's dissertation on this topic of digital economy, and it was really interesting to see how it was created and what it covered. So you can also take a look at that. It's really important for you if you work in that regard. Then we have country level law. So it is more about how your particular country works and uses its possibilities as a governance to actually protect within the country based on the market of the particular country. Also a very important thing, because MarTech, the use of MarTech really follows the development of the market itself. So the way the market, the way the economy of the particular country develops, ethics in a way of the regulations, though, that also follows that. So there's a very important consequential situations with this situation. We can actually follow it through if you're interested. But let's go on further to the industry level. So it is more about the particular specificities on the industry, how well the technology is actually used in the particular industry, what are the restrictions within it. So this is also important to consider. And then we have consumer level law, like about protection of the customer's right, the data that is used, and all of that. And then we have, for example, Apple's app tracking transparency feature. So it defines what data is used and how. And then we have company level law governance within the company, how it regulates the third party data use, purchase, and its um, spread, let's call it, am I right, when it shares with anyone and with someone else, and how it stores and all of that. So these like broad system of law also is like the cornerstone of everything what builds on upon it. So that's also something to be to consider if you are in this topic and you would like to know more. But let's get to the technology, which is currently not really distinguishable from MarTech, because AI, artificial intelligence, a system that refers to this, um, technology that uses customer data to work quicker, to generate the information which is necessary for the MarTech operation. This is also like this is not the also they say I think it becomes the key thing in MarTech operations, because even if you want to have your targeted ad to your audience, you can use, of course, the feature of your defining the audience, like age, location, interest, hobbies, platforms, all that stuff, your visuals, everything. And at the same time, there's also this sort of a dynamic AI-based targeting, which defines like more which tries to define the behavioral patterns of people you target, and maybe find something else that you may um, missed within the constraints, cognitive constraints of a simple human brain. But I try that on. I'm not really sure that I'm that much satisfied, but I think that's just a work in progress. I will see. So if we come back to the EU AI Act, EU AI Act sounds nice. So you can also, of course, get to those links because I'm going to leave them in the description to this video. So we have unacceptable risks, high risks, and transparency requirements. So as I mentioned earlier, something has to be really restricted in terms of technology use, but at the same time, it shouldn't be very restricted to the innovation. So a society should develop with the use of technology, and business also needs to do the same, but at the same time, it has to be within the particular, reason. And according to this report, document of the European Commission, there are the following things, like with unacceptable risks. These are for AI systems considered as a threat to people, and they should be banned. They include cognitive behavioral manipulation of people or specific vulnerable groups. For example, voice-activated toys that encourage dangerous behavior in children. Social scoring, like classifying people based on behavior, socioeconomic status, or personal characteristics. Biometric identification and categorization of people, and real-time and remote biometric identification systems such as facial recognitions, even though certain parts of it can be exception. The use of them can be exception and may be allowed for law enforcement purposes. Now, you may argue with me, like basically with the scoring, we have personalized systems. Like, not argue with me, basically, but it's not what I wrote, but it's something that I'm sharing here with you, right? And with scoring, if you recall the presentation number, I think 8 on MarTech and personalization, and MarTech and personalization example, which I shared with you a couple of videos earlier, we have personalized systems that are rooted into filtering out people based on their behavioral patterns, based on their location, based on whatever they want, right? Or whatever defines them. And it could be with also facial recognition, like your Apple or your smartphone, like iPhone. It sees you and then lets you get to the smartphone, right? Also, it's there, right, already. But to which extent, and to which extent this is harmful for a person or a society, well, this is what should be determined, and it's not yet banned. But I think that maybe you will share your thoughts on that regard with me, because I can talk about it quite a while, but I'm going to leave it up for interpretation. And we can discuss it further if you are interested in our lecture. Next point, high risk. So AI systems that negatively affect safety or fundamental rights, and they will be considered high risk and will be divided into two categories. AI systems that are used to products falling under the EU product safety legislation includes toys, aviation, cars, medical devices, and lifts. Already, let's take a look at that. We have already an intersection between toys and manipulations. So as we can see, this AI Pact already restricts the use of AI towards the kids. So they are very vulnerable a part of society, especially in terms of the behavioral settings, because they have quite, they can get plenty of impressions, right? And not really get into, unrestricted behavior, let's call it. The patterns can be influenced. And that's why we already see that there is this type of protection already within these two segments. And the second point refers to AI systems falling in a specific area that will have to be registered in an EU database. So management and operation of critical infrastructure, education and vocational training, employment, worker management and access to self-employment, access to and enjoyment of essential private services and public services and benefits, law enforcement, migration, asylum and border control management, assistance in legal interpretation and application of the law. So not much of that really covers marketing per se directly. But at the same time, when we talk about regulations, when we talk about the particular type of law enforcement, right? Even with ads, it certainly gets it certainly gets under this, filtering and filtering, I would say, for it not to be violating certain rules and law within the platform or whatever. And generally in MarTech, we can apply that one. I can really talk about AI law also for quite a while, but it's not the purpose of this particular video. I don't really want to get it too long. If you're interested, please drop a comment and we'll get to this discussion, because I love to talk about these topics. And the third, transparency requirements. Generative AI, like ChatGPT, will not be classified as high risk, but will have to comply with transparency requirements and EU copyright law. So, disclosing what the content was generated by AI, designing the model to prevent it from generating illegal content, publishing summaries of copyrighted data use for training. So as you can see, first it's about disclosure. So for example, if you create the visualization, like with a Midjourney or whatever, you have to, obviously, when you post it on Instagram, write down that it's like select this point which is generated with AI. And this is part of how this transparency is also used. At the same time, for example, if you remember, there was the regulation about you're posting on Instagram with this hashtag ad, which is required, still required, because it's not something that you share with your audience, but it's something that you get paid for. And that's why this is in transparency also with that. Also, when you collect data through cookies, through the registration on the website, all that also gets this through this disclaimer, to these transparency things. Designing models to prevent from generating illegal content. So what falls under illegal? we gotta clarify that. But at the same time, for example, when you create the text for the ad, it's really important to apply your copywriting skills to make it compliant with the law and to reduce these types of intolerance towards minority groups or whatever. So to make it as applicable to what you would have written as a human than but what the system actually said to write for you. And about the copyrighted use, that's also something, of course, that gets to the intellectual property and has its own huge dimension of regulations. And also high impact general purpose AI models that might pose systemic risk, such as more advanced AI model GPT-4 would have to undergo through evaluations, and any serious incidents would have to be reported to the European Commission. So, as you can see, there is the potential for AI evolution, let's call it that way, in its involvement into our everyday life. So, if we talk about the general purpose AI, which is not just generative AI, obviously, it doesn't really generate something based on something, but potentially can make its own decisions. And now it's really difficult to actually put it into some sort of words, but at the same time it's really interesting to see how it evolves, and there is this type of a potential for it to go under the evaluations along its evolution and development for the legislative body not to miss something, because they have to be registered in terms of this stage. How it's applied in reality, I cannot really say, but at the same time, this is something that you need to know from like some part of AI regulation in, for example, in European Union. Definitely, you can also check out the GDPR on the customer rights and the data flows, and then how it can be stored, collected, and utilized, and all that stuff. But at the same time, this is something that's really important about the use of AI for MarTech. And now we move to certain quotes from one of my favorite website, which is MarTech.org. I will respect this one, and I'm going to share this link also over here in the description of this video. But let's get back to our question at hand, which is the following, right? To comply with emerging data-related regulations, marketers have learned to consider ethical principles when handling data. And we have to cover the following. Informed consent. Consumers should be fully informed about how their data will be collected, stored, and used. Transparent privacy policies and easy-to-understand terms and conditions are essential. So when you use cookies, right? When you register on a website and provide your information for for example, loyalty program, when you create your account on any type of social networks, you give your consent. It's up to you to read what's there. Nobody really can understand the cognitive capabilities of a person. And this easy to understanding terms, this is also quite a bit of a stretch, but at the same time this is something that is created there to make this bridge between a person and the company which is collecting the data much more crossable. Data ownership. So consumers should have control of their data and availability to access, modify, or delete it at any time. So the opportunity to delete the profile is something that has to be there on any type of website, and the possibility to extract your email from mailing list also falls under that. That's a minimization. Sorry, I knew that I'm going to mess up that word. I knew that. But anyway, data minimization. Collecting only the data necessary for a specific marketing purpose helps minimize the risk of misuse. So what we can see here is that the marketer need to understand what's necessary, right? What's necessary for the predictive model, what is necessary for the marketing campaign, what is necessary for them to have this forecasting and retention and all of that. So this means that marketers needs to know what to do with data. But to be completely honest, to be completely honest, or based on my conversations with marketers, not everyone knows what to do. To be honest, not some parts of data is just stored. Certain parts of data is just quite messy. A bit of data is collected one place, another, da da da. And for MarTech to actually operate in a full potential, it has to be connected. And to be completely honest, I'm not really sure about this point. But at the same time, it's quite clear that you shouldn't collect something of a too much of vulnerability of the customer, right? We're going to cover more academic side of it, of privacy concerns and customer vulnerability a bit later. But nevertheless, this is what it is. Data sharing. Marketers should be cautious about sharing consumer data with third parties, ensuring that these parties adhere to the same ethical standards. Honestly, when we use different apps, when we go to websites, when we receive contextual ads and targeted ads and all that, we don't really only cooperate with the platform we are on. We have multitude of third parties that use our data. And the regulations of that started also with browsers, with their um, necessity of having these cookies and all that stuff emitted. So just a quick reminder, we'll get to that later in other videos, but nevertheless, we have the ownership of the data, which can be third party, the second party, third party, and sometimes ourselves just exists over here. And this is also this granulations and these different types of data, all of that actually falls within this being cautious about sharing the consumer data. So it is also, of course, case based, but nevertheless, this is what it is. And another quote that some considerations marketers should be thinking about the use of AI for marketing purposes. So we have algorithmic bias. I mean, don't get me wrong, algorithms are nice, right? They help with personalization, recommendation, all this stuff, and also with the conversations with conversational agents with chatbots. I've covered it in the previous videos. That's nice, but it's biased. We as humans are biased, right? AI feeds on the data which we provide the AI with. Since we are biased, it also becomes biased. That's quite logical, I guess. So let's read the text. AI algorithms can present the biases in training data, leading to discriminatory outcomes. Marketers must actively work to identify and mitigate biases to ensure fair and equitable treatment of all customers. Obviously, I mean, it is a help. AI and algorithms are help, but the major decision and major responsibility falls on the person who works with that. That's obvious. Transparency. AI driven decision making processes should be transparent and explainable. Consumers have a right to know how AI is used in marketing and how it influences their brand interactions. I mean, I'm here from the academic side, consulting corporate thing, giving you some knowledge on what to pay attention to, but it is more on a broader level, isn't it? It is. But with transparency from between the brand and the customer, I mean, it's a requirement. It's necessary. It has to be there, and we can't really get away from that. And policies, the possibility to withdraw your data, also a huge part of this constant control. Accountability. Businesses should take responsibility for the actions of their AI systems. This includes regular audits and assessments of AI ethics, along with clear lines of accountability for any issues that may arise. Generally, this is about the responsibility, about the fact that AIs are just the tools. I mean, everyone must have been really excited when the electricity came in force, and the same thing, and they were buzzing about on this topic. At the same time, it is just an average part of our everyday life. The same is with AI. I mean, for a couple of years, you might have heard about big data. This was a very big term back of the day. But then as you can see, now the big data is replaced with AI, right? Everyone's talking about AI, but generally it's also just a technology. Give it, I don't know, 5 years, and we're going to live with it. And technological danger, in my opinion, is certainly not the crucial and the most dangerous danger the humanity actually experiences and faces. So anyway, this is about ethics and MarTech. And here are the sources. They're going to be duplicated in the description of this video. And that was about MarTech and ethics for our online open lecture number 14. And I guess this is not all that I wanted to share with you, but I think it took quite a while. So if you're here and you watch this lecture, great job. I really hope that you learned plenty of stuff. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, disagreements, please share them in the comment. I love this topic and I would love to discuss it with you. And also, I invite you to a website which contains everything I do. Then open lectures like this one about the dates. I may have also host the offline ones. Who knows? You can also join if you're nearby. Smart Talks. Now I'm talking to the monitor, and I'm talking to my laptop screen and to my phone. But nevertheless, if you'd like to have 2 to 7 participant conversation, discussion, trends, collection, and all of that, we can improve our English and use the terms and have this safe environment of talking about things we're passionate about. So you're more than welcome to register and join me. That's free, open, and just give it a try. And the MarTech Guide. This is a document that I wrote, created, and designed, which is dedicated to the where, what, how, and when to learn if you would like to strive in the career, in the MarTech career. So it's for you. You can check it out. You can ask me questions about it. And I think that it's going to be valuable for you if you'd like to learn more about that. Anyway, that's it for today. That's it about MarTech and ethics. I am just really pushing myself to stop because it's a very fascinating topic, and I'm sure I'm going to talk about it a little bit later further. But anyway, see you in the future videos, and have a very nice day. My cat's going to throw down my camera, I guess. So yeah. Anyway, have a very nice day, and see you in the future videos. Dag Hans.